Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Leader-Tree. I'm your host, Chris Miller, and tonight we're going to be talking about leadership. Because that's what we talk about here at The Leader-Tree, where leadership grows, where strong roots build strong skills, and where we want to talk about what it means to have leadership qualities tonight. Leadership qualities. These are things that instill upon you and things that are part of you. And, when I was in the Army, we had 7 leadership qualities that were drilled into us that we had to uphold at all times. And they actually spelled out the acronym leadership, LDRSHIP. And those were loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Leadership. And so these skills that you develop along your journey shape the kind of leader that you decide that you want to be. And that's what we're here to talk about. So let's just go through them one at a time. And we'll start, of course, at the top with loyalty. What does it mean to have loyalty? What does it mean to demand loyalty in return for your loyalty? Loyalty is being faithful, right? It's being true, not just to yourself, but to others, right? To having faith in your team and to never let them down, right? That's loyalty. It's to look at something bigger than you and say, I'm a part of that and I'm not going to let that down. Right? That's loyalty. All right, let's talk about duty. What is it to have duty? It's to have an obligation to do something and then to make sure that you follow that up and that you fulfill that obligation that you have. And we have lots of duties in the world, don't we? We have a duty to our family, for example. We have a duty to provide for our family, for example, right? We got to take care of our kids, don't we? We got to take care of our wives and our husbands, right? These are duties that we have. We got to pay our bills. These are our duties that we got to do, right? So we have to set ourselves up in order to be successful in that regard. We got to set ourselves up in order to get where we want to go so that we can fulfill those obligations, right? Let's take the next one, respect. Respect is simple. Growing up, I was always told to treat others as you would have them treat you, right? That's a show of respect. It doesn't matter if they have earned that respect or not. You should give it to them anyway because you need to be treating them as you would like them to treat you, right? If you want someone to show you respect, the very easiest way to do that is to first show it to them. That's why we are respectful to our elders. That's why we hold the door open for a lady. That's why we, when walking with a lady down the stairs, we walk in front as men. So that if she trips and falls, we can hold her up. And when going up the stairs, you walk behind the lady so that if she trips and falls, you can hold her up. Right? Now, if you are the man in this situation and you trip and fall, ain't nobody going to help you. But it's just the way it is. That comes down to selfless service right there. It's putting the welfare of others before your own. Right? Putting the welfare of others before your own. A lot of people don't know that. That was actually part of the chivalric code back in the old days of chivalry. A lady ascends the stairs first with the gentleman behind her to catch her in case she falls, and reverse it on the way down. You go in front so that you can catch her in case she falls. People don't even know that anymore. Getting a door for the lady is a sign of respect. Putting yourself on the line in front of someone else so that if something happens, you take the hit, that's selfless service. Okay? Let's talk about honor. Right? What is honor? What does honor mean to you? Honor is important. It's sacred. Okay? You got to develop a habit of being honorable. You have to develop a habit of being trustworthy. Okay? It's a matter of carrying out the abilities of being respectful, of being loyal, of exuding selfless service, of having integrity. That's honor. Honor is walking out there knowing that the battle is almost certainly lost, but walking out there anyway to fight it. That's honor. You know, we're talking about war right now. We're talking about glory, right? We're talking about on the field of battle, who's going to be remembered? The most honorable men, right? Or women are remembered. They're the ones that exemplify all of the values that others hold dear. They're the ones that exemplify courage. They're the ones that exemplify faith. The ones that exemplify what it is to be honorable. But honor also means being truthful, being honest, being sincere, being trustworthy. And you can't have any of that, and you won't get it from anybody if you don't have the next one, which is integrity. Integrity. Something that I instilled in everybody that I've ever trained. And I guarantee you find any soldier that I ever trained over and over again. Still to this day, you ask them, what are the two things that Sergeant Miller told you must do? And one of those two things is going to be never, ever give away your integrity. It's the only thing you have that cannot be taken from you. It's also the only thing you can't get back once you give it away. Your integrity is your stamp of honor. Your integrity is your morality. Your integrity is your way of saying, I'm going to do what's right, regardless of whether or not it gets me anywhere. Because it's the right thing to do. You know, I always tell everybody, if you always do the right thing, you can never go wrong. And let me tell you, during my divorce, which, by the way, guys, this took 3 years for me to go through. It was... Have you ever seen The War of the Roses? It's a movie with, what's that guy's name? Michael Douglas and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Anyway, she was in Romancing the Stone. She was in V.I. Warshawski. She's in a lot of movies, and I can't remember her name all of a sudden. But anyway, great actors, both of them. If you haven't, and Danny DeVito was also in it. If you never saw the movie The War of the Roses, check it out. It's a fun movie. You're going to love it. But this was literally my divorce. I mean, we were at each other's throats in every way that we could be. And really not me, more so her. She kept coming after me and coming after me and coming after me. Like there was no tomorrow. I just wanted the whole thing to end. I wanted it to end amicably. She didn't care about amicable at all, you know. But throughout the whole thing, she's playing dirty games. And she's winning points, right? She's winning points she's putting the basket, boom, boom, boom. She's shooting 3 throws right through there, right? And I'm not scoring anything. Because I'm playing by the rules. She's not playing by the rules at all. And she's just getting in on technicality here, technicality there. Very upsetting. And my son, who was, 12, 13 years old, he says to me, Dad, you told me that if you always do the right thing, you can never go wrong. But you're doing the right thing all the time, and you're losing this divorce. I said, you're right. And I started to question that. Was that correct? But here's where integrity is so important. Here's where integrity matters the most. Because, like I instilled in everybody, I believe it myself. It's the only thing you've got that cannot be taken from you. But you can't get it back if you give it away. And so I stuck to my guns and I said, no. I had an opportunity to play some dirty games back at her and win. And I didn't use them. I mean, I could have slammed her. But I didn't use it. I stuck to my guns and I did the way that I wanted to do it. Through honesty, through integrity. And when it came down to the wire, and this divorce was finally coming to a close, right up until the day of the trial, it seemed like everything was against me. But when it came down to the trial day, the judge saw through every bit of it. Every little game she was pulling. Because guess what? She wasn't the first one to pull those games. She wasn't the first one to play those tricks. And the judge knew them. And the judge saw right through them. And the judge gave me everything that I wanted and then some. Because I didn't do it. Because I stuck with my integrity. Because I did what was right. Because it was the right thing to do. As a result, I still have my son. And as a result, he still has faith that doing the right thing will get him where he wants to go. That's integrity. And I had to show the next thing, which was personal courage, along that same route. So I put myself in a dangerous position, and I put my son in a dangerous position Because if we had lost, he would have lost. Big time. The last thing he wanted in the world was have to live with his mother. And that's what she was trying to get, even though she didn't even care for him much. She just was trying to do it because then she could get me to pay child support. I took a risk by not playing the game. That's what personal courage is taking that risk in spite of the danger. You know, people think that courage is being strong and running in and get, but courage is not just being strong. Courage is knowing that there's danger ahead of you and going anyway. Right? It's the same as the honor. It's knowing that you may not go in there and come back out the same way or at all. But still going in there. Because things need to get done. It's going into that boardroom knowing that everybody's going to fire you if your pitch doesn't work. But going into that boardroom and giving that pitch of your lifetime. Is putting it all on the line. Because that's what you got to do. Hey, when we get back, we're going to talk about something else that I really want to talk about. And that's going to be in just a moment. But before we do that, have a listen to this. Say goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021. It's time to target our goals for this year, like the goal to be successful. We can do this by exploring new things, following influential people, and giving back to get more. Maybe our goal is to get to know ourselves better by reading more or listening to things which inspire us, to push ourselves and follow through so that we can be our best self and get ahead to feel great. So whatever your goals for 2021, find what you're looking for at theleadertree.com, where leadership grows. So check us out Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern at tw3radio.com and theleadertree.com, because strong roots build stronger skills. And we're back. And I want to talk a little bit more about the 7 Army values, incorporating them into your daily lives. Again, leadership is all about living these things, incorporating them into who you are, into how you behave, into the way you see the world around you, etc., etc., the way you interact with the world around you, etc., etc. And the 7 Army values are how I learned to do with it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go with the 7 Army values for your core belief system as well, but I find them to be very good and very accurate to make a good leader. Number 1, loyalty. Number 2, duty. Number 3, respect. Number 4, selfless service. Number 5, honor. 6, integrity. And 7, personal courage. These are the values. These are the codes by which I measure my life. These are the codes that I live by, the codes that I measure my deeds and my successes or my failures. And as I told you earlier, when it came to my divorce, I started to waver. But when it came down to it, I stuck to it. I stuck to these values. And as a result, I came out on top. A young man by the name of Jeff Rose once tweeted, "The Army taught me that no matter what, I had to hold myself to a higher standard." And I think that was spot on when I read that. No matter what, he said. It didn't matter what was coming at him. It didn't matter what the circumstances were. It didn't matter if doing the right thing meant he was going to lose. He had to hold himself to a higher standard than that. He had to say to himself, I am better than that. I'm better than to make compromises in who I am. I may not win every time, but I'm going to win in the long run. Even if I lose this battle, I will win the war. And it's true. Because in my divorce, I lost many battles doing the right thing. But if you always do the right thing, you could never go wrong. I believed it. I lived it. And I won that war. Not just for me, but for my son's sake. And we're happier today than ever. These things matter. Who you are matters. And now you take that and you translate that into the business world. What does it mean for you? Because while the military, that training is geared toward creating a perfect soldier, right? Those very same lessons can create the ideal entrepreneur, the ideal businessman, the ideal managing partner. When you're looking for your next VP of operations, look for a guy who was in the military. Look for a guy who served. Because they're going to know what it means to be loyal. They're going to know what it means to get the job done every time because that's their duty to do it. They're going to know what it means to sacrifice and be there. They're going to be the first one in at the day. They're going to be the last one out the door. And if you're an entrepreneur, as I am, you know all too well what I'm talking about. Because there is no second place trophy, folks, when it comes to life. And there damn sure is no participation trophy, whatever those things are. You don't get accolades for showing up. What bothers me in the world today is that there's so little competition amongst everybody. Everybody's afraid to compete. You know why Apple's as big as it is? Steve Jobs decided to play one part of his company against another. And they went head to head. He had the Apple group and he had the Mac group. And Macintosh would go head to head for sales against Apple. And you want to know which team is going to drive their system to the top. What is the end result by doing that? The whole company goes up, right? The whole company jumped. Like a mega leap. Stock was splitting like there was no tomorrow, splitting every other day. If you've been around long enough, you remember that. It was insane. People today, they don't understand competition is an important way to get ahead in life, because the winners are the ones who write history. Okay. What would the history books be saying if Hitler had won World War II? What would they be saying about the Jewish people today? If there even would be any Jewish people surviving today, if we had allowed Hitler to take over the world. But he didn't. He didn't. And so all of the things that those history books would have said never got written. All of the horrible things that those history books would have said about the Jewish people of the time never got written. Because we got to write what would go in those books. Because we were the winners. The Jewish people were the winners. Not just survivors. Winners. They did what was right, and they won the war, even though they lost all the battles. They had faith, and they had help because of their faith. Do you think the world would have rose up against the tyranny if the tyranny wasn't there? Or if the tyranny had been justified even a little bit? If the persecution of the Jewish community wasn't there, would America have even gotten to that fight? Maybe not. But you pick on the little guy who's not doing anything to hurt anybody. The world takes notice of things like that. And we'll come after you. Because it's our duty to do so. History is won by the winners. It's written by those who conquer the game. And it's a bloody game in many cases. And a sad game in many cases. But when it comes to life, there are no do-overs. There are no second chances. You either get it right or you don't. And if you don't, nobody's going to remember you. How do you get it right? You live by these codes. You live by these values. And you push yourself until you get it right. You push yourself until you win. And you never stop. And you never give up. If you're thinking about giving up on your dreams, if you're thinking about stopping before you get where you want to go, I want you to give me a call. I want you to reach out to me. Go to theleadertree.com and look me up and reach out to me. I want you to tell me why it is you think you cannot succeed, why it is you believe you cannot win in the game you're playing. And I'll show you that you're wrong. I'll show you a way to be what you need to be. I'll show you a way to get where you want to get. I'll do it every single time because there is no second place, folks. And you can get there, I guarantee it, or your money back. Hey, for the Leader Tree, I'm Chris Miller, reminding you to always keep smiling. It's been fun, folks. Bye-bye.